Is the president of Zimbabwe facing rebellion within the security cluster in Zimbabwe? And in this case, I'm referring to the Zimbabwe Defense Force, the also CIOs, as well as also the other, security, institutions in Zimbabwe, especially if the past few days are to be actually closely scrutinized in ZANU-PF. I think, in my view, there is really an overwhelming evidence that something may be ongoing behind the scenes, especially from all clusters in Zimbabwe. Greetings and welcome on your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black button so that next time when we film live, you become the very first one to watch us. Is Mnangagwa facing an internal revolution or an internal rebellion, especially from his security service personnel? Because if you analyze what has been happening over the past few days, I think something points to that. Okay, it was first Blessed Geza. Blessed Geza is the face of both the military as well as also the war veterans in Zimbabwe. As if that was not enough, a few days after, we saw another assistant inspector who is serving in the police within the Zimbabwe Republic Police. We heard initially from the state media that he had stolen a car, and we thought it was maybe a thief, but the story did not make sense at all until later on in the evening that day. I think it must be Thursday or Friday. That is when the story started to surface, that an assistant police inspector had actually issued a statement that, if you watch that statement and analyze it, it is closely linked to the problems that have been identified by Blessed Case. And that police officer indicated, without actually divulging more details, that if he is arrested, we are going to hear more. Now in Zimbabwe today, there is a headline, there is a business personnel who was actually shot in his farm and killed by, it is alleged, 8 armed robbers in Zimbabwe. Such crimes, are they now happening under Emerson Mnangagwa? And for your own information, like, it's not easy in Zimbabwe to do such criminal activities because of the fact that there are roadblocks. Literally, for example, if you count how many roadblocks are within even Bulawayo. Let me talk about Bulawayo. There are numerous roadblocks in Bulawayo. Luveve Road, Kami Road, all the entry points of Bulawayo have got robots. And I can't even count how many robots are there in main roads, or what I can call maybe national roads, if there is any. They are numerous roadblocks manned. So 8 armed robbers carrying bullets, firing bullets to a person 5 times, to an extent that even the neighbors heard, and then someone dies just like that. These stories, they don't make sense. And if you look even the way and the manner, the police commission, the spokesperson of the police asked, saying he is still waiting for more information to actually comment on the story. There is a lot that actually is offish, which is going on in Zimbabwe. And not only that, today there is an assistant inspector who resigned a month ago. He is speaking against Emerson Mnangagwa, condemning the donations that he made in Mozambique, saying, as much as in the African continent we expect to see such, but it cannot be done by Emerson Tambuzo Mnangagwa, because he is doing this outside, whilst at home there are people who need such the donations that he has decided to go and give to the Mozambicans. Now, if you look at all these things, you try to knit them together. Where are these police officers, former police officers, getting this nerve as well as also this bravado all of a sudden? Because it is known in Zimbabwe, especially if you are, I remember I have associated with numerous police officers, I mean people who have been into senior position within only Moyo, but there is a certain lady, I remember we were so close. So at one point I was asking, she was very, very senior within the police. I'm working for another company. I don't want to talk a lot, otherwise they may actually track down, especially without giving me the permission to mention her name and stuff. So I was asking her to do something which was political in nature, and she simply said, and I said, but you have actually retired from the police. She said, though I have retired from the police, there are actually certain documents under oath that I signed. If they hear that I said this, which is political, they can actually come after me and kill me. I don't want even to do that. She was actually older than me, and that woman, when we were growing up, she was very, very one of those brave women, actually, whom you would think that even a man cannot speak recklessly around her. But the fear she showed to me, especially when I mentioned something revolving. I was in Zimbabwe by that particular time, because I started my political activism in Zimbabwe. So I'm not speaking like this because I'm outside. If you research about me before 2017, I was in Zimbabwe for 5 years, speaking almost like this. I mean, at that time I didn't have the gadgets and the know-how of actually doing this. And that woman's the fear that she actually depicted. So there is if whether retired or within service, if you are working for prisons, if you are working for Zetara, if you're working for police. I think I've told people, was it on my other channel which was blocked by ZANU-PF, that at one point when I was working for this international organization, we're supposed to go and train the police. Now I go to, it was in Kulumane police station, towards the elections. After that constitution of 2013, I don't know when the elections were done, during that particular period. Now when I go to that particular police station, I was still young, but then not active into politics, but I was seeing things. You see, when we came, we reported because we had an appointment to meet all the police officers, and we had a program with them. I will not reveal the organization for the purposes of just protecting the organization, because my contract then did not allow me actually to even after I've finished working with them to speak about them. Now, when I go in there, there was a meeting. We're told, no, they are in a meeting, but they will be done now. Guess what was happening? They were chanting ZANU-PF slogan, Bamberina Mugabe. But all the police officers in that particular station, someone will think I'm making up a story, but if you're a police officer, I'm sure you know that this guy is speaking the truth. Why am I telling you this story? I'm trying to knock it into your head that in Zimbabwe, police officers, military, war veterans, and whoever you can imagine, they are ZANU-PF members. And they are told you must be ZANU-PF when in service and even when you are retired. And they are threatened and they are told about the consequences of actually going against ZANU-PF. That is why you will see most of these police officers, they comply. But now, if you look at what members of the security clusters are doing these days, started with Blessed Geza. He's a war veteran. He understands how ZANU-PF actually, in fact, he may be part of the people who created those rules, though he has actually publicly apologized that they have taken stock, they understand. I'm sure they understand better than what I'm speaking. So, that is Zimbabwe for you. That has been created or concocted by ZANU-PF. So, all the police officers are aware of that. That you remember also, was it during the elections of 2023, there is a police officer who has actually taken a video having attended Nelson Chamisa rally in civilian clothes. You know what was done to that particular police officer. And actually the problem with opposition, they will just put the story on the headline and it. That is why that police officer was asking about the victims of 2008. If we had a viable opposition political party, with that story on its own, they would capitalize to get rid of ZANU-PF and actually to be embraced even by the international community, especially with the political capital they have on the people of Zimbabwe. But they have failed dismally numerous times. And anyway, so in simple terms, I sense in my view some form of rebellion. The system appears to be actually rebelling now against Mnangagwa, which means Mnangagwa have overstretched even the system itself. People are speaking. Some have been doing these actually evil things to their fellow relatives, and realization seems to have knocked sense. I think a self-created revolution is actually starting with the system itself, and having been ignited by Blessed Geza to actually change the situation for the better politically. Even those who are doing it, they see a need now to say, no guys, we need to stand up. This is not how a country should be built. This is not what we fought for. This is not what we want to be known about, especially when we are gone. It appears that period in Zimbabwe of taking stock and actually self-introspection and bravado that has been developed, especially within the members of the security cluster. Something big may be happening. In fact, it is happening. Get it from me. And when I speak, this is not a propaganda machinery. When I speak out of because I'm informed of certain things. There are certain things I know, but obviously I will just protect my sources for their security, even though my security is not guaranteed. It's not important at the moment. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when you